Jennette McCurdy is a former child star that rose to fame on the 2007 Nickelodeon sitcom iCarly, which was created by controversial figure Dan Schneider. Jennette was forced into acting by her abusive mother, who passed away a year after iCarly came to an end. After her mother's death, Jennette developed a serious case of bulimia. Now, the former star has left the entertainment industry. Join Trender as we explore how Jennette McCurdy has struggled big time since her iCarly days. Jennette McCurdy never wanted to act. There are some child stars that are destined for celebrity and beg their parents to take them to auditions. However, Jennette McCurdy falls into the much more common camp of child stars that were pushed into the entertainment industry against their will. It was Jennette's mother who got her into acting, and the girl grew to hate the profession early on. Still, she struggled on to make her mother proud. Jennette's mother wanted all of her children to be stars. When one of Jennette's brothers was given an opportunity to sign with a notable child talent agency, the agency said that it didn't want to take Jennette on because it didn't feel that the young girl had enough charisma. Jennette was raised religiously. The night following the rejection, Jennette's mother told her to pray to God to make the talent agency change its mind. With some additional pestering from Jennette's mother, the talent agency eventually relented to the desires of the Lord. Jennette was taken on as a client, though with the caveat that she was going to have to work on her screen presence. Jennette began getting small roles, which pleased her mother. Jennette's mother called herself Jennette's representative and said that this entitled her to a significant chunk of whatever money she made. When Jennette was on set, her mother wouldn't let her go to use the bathroom, as she told the young girl that it was unprofessional. Further bathroom issues that arose during Jennette's childhood include the fact that her mother insisted on wiping her rear end until she was 8. Jennette's mother was abusive. But wiping wasn't the only strange and inappropriate practice that Jennette's mother enacted on the young girl. Jennette's mother also insisted on aiding the young girl in the shower until she was a teenager, as well as giving her rough exams of her genital areas as she was coming of age. According to Jennette, she would disassociate during these violent exams and daydream about Disneyland. One day, at the acting classes that Jennette was being forced to go to, she began crying as a result of stress. The instructor mistakenly believed that Jennette was crying on command, and subsequently told Jennette's handlers that the young girl was capable of much more than she had initially let on. Jennette began to go along with the idea that she could cry on command, and eventually became able to do so. Jennette claims that she could think of horrible things happening to her family in order to summon authentic tears on command, though it was traumatic. This crying on command gave a young Jennette a role in the Josh Hartnett and Harrison Ford starring comedy film Hollywood Homicide, which was released in 2003. Around the time of her appearance in Hollywood Homicide, Jennette told her mother that she no longer wanted to act. This caused her mother to have a hysterical fit, which created another traumatic memory for the miserable child star. Jennette gave in to her mother's emotional abuse and continued going to auditions against her volition. When it came time to go to auditions, Jennette's mother dressed her up the same way that a pageant mom would. According to Jennette, she recalls telling her mother that her clothes and makeup made her look like a streetwalker. Of course, this was coming from a girl who was far too young to be aware of the term. Jennette's problems worsened during her teen years. Jennette's mother exercised control over the young girl's diet, and she always insisted that Jennette remain as skinny as possible. This became a bigger issue once Jennette started coming of age. When young Jennette started developing breasts, she recalls not feeling entirely comfortable with the new fat being added to her body. This negative feeling was exacerbated by the fact that Jennette's mother had suffered from breast cancer when the girl was still young. Jennette has recalled that there were times when she would look in the mirror and imagine that her newly forming breasts were tumorous growths. Jennette's coming of age started occurring around the same time that the child performer started becoming famous. As one might imagine, the attention that came Jennette's way as a result of iCarly only made the young star's issues worse. There's also the fact of the matter that Jennette had unrelated problems with the creator of the show, who has since been revealed as a possible child predator. If you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to hit the like button to show your support. Also, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to be among the first to know when more awesome Trender videos are on their way. Becoming famous made things more difficult. Jennette McCurdy was cast on the Nickelodeon television series iCarly around the same time that she started developing. As is common with kid stars, Nickelodeon also tried to give Jennette a career as a pop musician. All of this attention put more pressure on Jennette to look pretty. Given that Jennette's mother taught her that being pretty meant looking as flat as possible, this made it very hard for the young star to be comfortable with her developing body. At her mother's insistence, Jennette began limiting what she was eating to the point of concern. When doctors brought the issue up, Jennette's mother claimed that the young girl refused to eat, and that she would try her best to get her to. Of course, she was lying through her teeth. In 2011, towards the end of iCarly's run, Jennette McCurdy was going on a tour in support of her manufactured pop career. Jennette's mother's cancer had come back, which prevented her from accompanying the teenage star. Jennette took the opportunity of being away from her mother to indulge in some food that she might not otherwise be able to. When Jennette returned from the tour, the young star's mother told her that she looked fat. By 2013, Jennette's mother's cancer had worsened to the point where she was on her deathbed. After her mother's passing, Jennette continued to have body issues. In fact, they got worse. iCarly ended in 2012, and Jennette was cast on the spin-off series Sam and Cat. During this time period, Jennette's anorexia evolved into bulimia. When the show ended in 2014, Jennette was in dire straits. In addition to developing bulimia, Jennette had also developed a related drinking habit. According to the former star, drinking helped her vomit after her binges. Jennette decided to leave it all behind. It got to the point where Jennette was throwing up 10 times a day and drinking 10 shots of alcohol every night. Therapy made Jennette realize that her eating disorder was a result of her fame, which eventually paved the way for Jennette to realize that she needed to take some time to focus on herself. Jennette has since left show business behind, and she seems to be doing all the better for it. In addition to her body image issues, there were also other negative experiences that Jennette had during her time in Hollywood. iCarly was created by a man by the name of Dan Schneider, and Jennette has since claimed that Dan Schneider acted very creepily towards her during filming. When it came time for Jennette McCurdy to part ways with Nickelodeon, the former child star claims that the network offered to give her $300,000 in order to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Jennette didn't take the agreement, and hasn't minced words since about how much she disliked her time working with the network. Though Jennette seems to think that the entire experience of working at Nickelodeon was very phony in general, most of her specific qualms seem to stem from one man. That man would be Dan Schneider. Not only did Dan Schneider create iCarly, but he had also created several hit shows for Nickelodeon previously. In the days since iCarly came to an end, Nickelodeon has ended its professional relationship with the man as a result of an investigation that turned up evidence of emotional abuse. Is Dan Schneider a sexual predator? Emotional abuse towards actors is one thing, but Jennette has suggested that Dan Schneider was more interested in another kind of abuse. Jennette claims that Dan insisted that she be sexualized on iCarly. Jennette wanted to wear one-piece bathing suits, but Dan insisted that she wear bikinis. Jennette also claims that there was one time when Dan tried to get her to drink when she was underage. She refused the offer, though Dan tried to talk her into it further by suggesting that all of the Nickelodeon kids did it. The farthest, Jennette claims, that Dan Schneider ever tried to take things with her was one time during the later days of iCarly, when the creator began massaging her shoulders inappropriately when they were alone in his office. By the end of the filming of iCarly's spin-off, Jennette says that Dan was no longer allowed on set by Nickelodeon. This was a result of the aforementioned investigation, which was then ongoing. Instead of being on set, Dan had to watch what was happening on the set remotely via a room somewhere else on Nickelodeon property. Jennette McCurdy co-starred on iCarly with Miranda Cosgrove. Of all the people that Jennette worked with during her Nickelodeon days, it seems that Miranda is the only person that the former child star has even a modicum of respect for. However, that wasn't enough to bring Jennette out of her retirement to appear in 2021's iCarly reboot, which is currently filming its third season. Jennette McCurdy has struggled big time since her iCarly days, but she now seems to be doing better for herself after leaving the entertainment industry behind. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know that Jennette McCurdy turned down the chance to appear on the recent iCarly reboot for Paramount Plus, and that she claims that she was inappropriately touched by original series creator Dan Schneider back in the day? As always, like this video to show your support, and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be among the first to know when more awesome Trender videos are on their way.